Good morning and welcome to our Group 4-8 presentation of our health teaching plan. Our primary task was to design this brochure in such a way that it will appeal to all audiences without emphasizing any in particular one. We wanted this brochure to appeal equally to audience who have different backgrounds, whether it's age, race, religion, gender, and so on, but still make them feel relevant into one cohesive design. The design was aesthetically made to reflect Our Lady of Fatima's school theme. We went with a more bold and modern and down-to-earth feel layout design. Now let's start with a quick overview of our content. We'll talk about defining mental health and spirituality, connections of spiritual and mental health, spirituality affecting an individual mental health, symptoms and treatments of mental illness, ways for achieving mental and spiritual stability, and the advantages of having a strong spirituality and good mental health. Now, let's start with mental. Why is mental health important? Patients in all areas and specialties will be experiencing emotional distress and responses to that stress. It's important for the nurse to understand the basic concepts of mental health and illnesses that will help you understand, assess, and care for your patients. At the heart of it, all nurses are psych nurses. Now, what's mental health? What is your mental health check? I'll hand it off to Faith to tell you more.
Thank you, Dyllan, for that wonderful introduction. I know most of us experience this kind of situation where we almost cannot handle the pressure we're carrying. So, that is why mental health is essential throughout life, from childhood and adolescence to maturity. These are not meant to have a mental illness where it is all about our cognitive and emotional well being. Well, it is the same as physical health. Our emotional, psychological, and social well being are all contributed to our mental health. It has an impact on how we think, feel, and act. It also influences how we deal with stress, interact with people, and make decisions. Over the course of your life, if you experience mental health problems, your thinking, mood, and behavior could be affected. Many factors contribute to mental health problems, including biological factors such as genes or brain chemistry, life experience like trauma or abuse, or even family history of mental health problems. Furthermore, we must not ignore this and be open minded for those people who suffer from it. As what they say, we should not judge when we don't know the cause. Now that we all know the definition of mental health, now back to you, Daylan.
Spirituality can also have an impact to our mental health. It is important to know the values of spirituality, especially to patients that needs to regain their sense of hope and purpose in life. Here's JAZRIEL to tell you more.
What is spiritual? As we all know, there are several meanings of spirituality because every person has spirituality. It manifests itself in every aspect of our personal and public lives. It is attained when you are at peace with your life. It is when you can find hope and consolation even in the darkest of situations. It might serve to support you while you fully enjoy life. It is simply intertwined into and conveyed via every thought, feeling, and action of every person. It comprises a sense of belonging to something larger than ourselves, as well as a desire for purpose in life. It is a universal human experience that affects us all. In terms of finding or creating meaning in our lives, everyone struggles with concerns such as identity, sorrow, and hope. Spiritual concerns are those that generate questions about the meaning of existence, life in general, and your life in particular. The answers you offer to these questions create your spirituality. Your unique notion of spirituality may evolve over time as you adjust to your own experiences and connections. Our personal, family, and cultural experiences impact how we are express our spirituality. Some people exhibit their spirituality through religion. Religious language, beliefs, and symbols are typically included. Spirituality may also be expressed in non-religious ways, such as connecting with one's body via exercise, meditation, massage, dancing, eating, and drinking, or sexuality. You grow spiritually as you learn to love and care for yourself, express compassion for others, trust your intuitions and conscience, develop trustworthy relationships, trust that meaning can be found in every moment and place of your life, and forgiveness for yourself for failures and wrongdoing. Seek justice when abused or wrong, and let go of the desire for revenge when hurt. So we should have a healthy spirituality that provides a sense of calm, completeness, and harmony in our life. Physical, emotional, social, and spiritual elements.
Spirituality always relates with mental health. Let's find out how spiritual connects with mental health. To tell you about it, here's Roslin.
Ano nga ba ang koneksyon ng spirituality sa mental health? Recent decades have been marked by another shift in thought with increased interest in the overlap between mental health and spirituality and recognition that spirituality may in fact serve protective healing roles in the face of emotional suffering. There has been a concomitant increase in research investigating the connections between spirituality and mental health, along with increased development and application of clinical interventions addressing the two in combination. Spirituality can help you deal with stress by giving you a sense of peace, purpose, and forgiveness. It often becomes more important in times of emotional stress or illness. Many studies showed that if people have spiritual health, they will experience better mental health and will adapt to stress more successfully. A more sophisticated analysis of correlational data can indicate a curvilinear relationship between religious variables and mental health outcomes over the life course of depressive expression, death anxiety, general anxiety disorders, and overall distress. Non-believers and on the opposite end of spectrum, those in whom religion is an extremely potent and orienting factor in their lives, shows the most favorable association with mental health outcomes. In others, those at the far end of the religious continuum are the most susceptible to suffering, and those that adhere to a more moderate practice or belief system show better functioning. Some also find that their religious or spiritual beliefs are not understood or explored within mental health services. For many clinicians, either ignore an individual's spiritual life completely or treat their spiritual experiences as nothing more than manifestations of psychopathology. And that's on connections of spirituality and mental health. Back to you, Dyllan.
Next, how can spirituality affect one's mental health? What are the ways good spirituality help your mental health? Here's KRYSHEL to tell you more details.
So, spirituality provides a sense of serenity, purpose, and forgiveness, which can help you cope up with stress. It becomes much more crucial during times of emotional stress or illness. It also promotes people to develop stronger bonds with themselves, others, and unknown. So, there are a variety of ways on how spirituality can help your mental health. First, you may experience a sense of purpose, tranquility, hope, and meaning. Second, you may feel more self-assured, self-esteem, and self-control. It can assist you in making sense of your life events. Fourth, when you're sick, it can help you find inner strength and speed up your recovery. And lastly, you can work on improving your own and others' relationships. So if there are positive impacts, there are also some negative impacts. Because there are some people who might take advantage on people who are emotionally vulnerable. So if you're one of them, you might be easily convinced to take part in harmful or unhealthy activities.
Let's talk about mental illness. Mental illness defines as maladaptation to stress, exhibiting inappropriate thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, inability to fulfill responsibilities and relationships, and finally, disorders that affects behavior and the brain. Let's start with symptoms of mental illnesses. Here's Leon to tell you more.
According to the World Health Organization and Wang H. et al., mental health disorders have been a major threat to human health as it is related to prevalence, progression, and outcome of chronic diseases. Symptoms may vary between individuals, but generally, these are the common symptoms associated with mental health disorders. First is hopelessness. Hopelessness is often related to periods of anxiety or depression. This is where the person expects that things will not improve and feel helpless to change his current situation. Next is loss of interest and motivation in things previously enjoyed. As a person loses interest in activities which gives him pleasure, he may also lose motivation to do things. For instance, a person who used to enjoy outdoor activities and meeting new people started to withdraw and isolate himself. Then, reduced self-esteem. Low self-esteem is how someone perceives who they are and what they can do. This is where a person experiences difficulty speaking up and prioritizing his own needs, wants, and feelings. Next is reduced or increased appetite. The loss or increase of appetite isn't usually a disorder. Instead, it's a symptom for another issue. For some people with depression, this means a loss of appetite, while for others, the amount may increase. Reduced libido. The state of the mind often affects the sexual desire of a person. Low libido for a long period of time can sometimes be an indicator of an underlying mental health disorder such as depression. Next is disturbed sleep. Mental health disorders make it difficult to sleep comfortably. However, it varies among mental health disorders. For example, anxiety can cause a person's thoughts to race, thus making it hard to sleep. Meanwhile, depression leads to oversleeping or sleep deprivation. Anger or irritability. Anger is a natural, instinctive response to threats and sometimes necessary for survival. But anger becomes a problem when a person lacks self-restraint, causing him to say or do things he regrets. Next is deterioration in cognitive function. A recent study has found that mental health disorders negatively influence cognitive function, including deterioration in memory, shortened attention span, and processing speed. Ideas or acts of self-harm. Self-harm or self-injury means hurting yourself on purpose. It is a behavior that suggests a need for better and effective coping skills. Common examples include overdosing, hitting, cutting, or burning oneself, pulling hair, or picking skin, or self-strangulation. Finally, suicidal ideation. Suicidal ideation refers to the process of imagining, pondering, or planning suicide. However, it does not include the final step of suicide. Suicidal ideation includes wishing that you could die in your sleep or in an accident rather than by your own hands.
Next, what are the treatments we can use to treat mental illness? What can we do if our patient is suffering from mental illness? Let's hear Ariane's advice.
If you or someone you know have been diagnosed with a mental problem, this will show you ways that could make a problem a lot better. While there are currently no known cures for mental illnesses, but the good news is that recovery is possible. According to studies, 80% to 90% of mental illnesses can be treated with medicines and by actively participating therapies. Options including psychotherapy, or also known as talk therapy or counseling. We also have Centers for Community Mental Health, free mental health services that should be available. There are also people who can help us. These are the psychiatrists, therapists, case manager, and group programs. First, psychiatrists. These are the medical doctors who specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of mental, emotional, and behavioral diseases. We also have therapists, a healthcare professional trained in methods of treatment and rehabilitation other than the use of drugs or surgery. We also have case manager who helps us to coordinate community mental health resources and provides continuous assistance. And of course, group programs, a wide range of support and psychoeducational groups. This has been ARIANE Tolentino saying mental health matters. Help us stop the stigma.
Now let's proceed with stability. As a nurse, how do we find the patient's spirituality? Is it through religion? Not all people find it through religion, although there is no right and wrong method to achieve spiritual wellness. I'll hand it off to GIECHELLE and she will share you a few strategies to help you get started.
Ways on how to achieve stable spiritual health and mental health. Number 1. Connect with your faith community. Find a person or an organization where you can share your ideas, thoughts, and beliefs. It is important to have someone beside you to guide you from what is in your mind. People who can encourage and support you to do good things that will help you to grow in many aspects of life. Number 2. Think positively. Thinking positively will lessen the burden that you are feeling. When you start seeing the things around you in a positive way, you are helping yourself to become a happy and healthy person. You will feel relaxed because you stop worrying about things or situations that can cause you stress. Number 3. Stay healthy. Make sure to have enough sleep, proper diet, and stay active. Staying healthy is good for our brain and of course for our body. It has a big impact to our mental health because it helps us to relieve stress, helps us to get enough sleep, and improve our memory. The fourth one is meditation. One of the ways to relieve our stress is doing meditation. Go to a place or an area where you can focus and concentrate. One of the beneficial ways to relieve stress, it helps to control anxiety of a person, fight addiction, and enhances self-awareness. The fifth one is get help if you need it. Talking to someone may help to ease the pain or stress that you are feeling. Share your thoughts to the people that you know who can help you and you are comfortable to talk to. Ask help from professionals because they are the ones who can really help you with what's on your mind.
Let's talk about advantages of strong spirituality and mental health. Spiritual and mental health always plays a major role of our holistic well-being in our daily lives. This will also help feel better about ourselves. Here's Gwyneth to tell you more.
Benefits of having a stable mental and spiritual health. Having a stable spiritual and mental health has a lot of benefits for every individual that could help them live a better life every day. First, longevity. Let us say that you have a positive outlook in life, full of hope and happiness, meaning you are away from the stress that could lead to different diseases. Nowadays, stress is one of the major causes of different health issues. Having stable spiritual and mental health helps you live longer. Second, having inner peace. Despite of having and encountering the different kinds of stressors around, a person who has a stable spiritual and mental health can still manage to keep calm, be happy, and contented no matter how hard their life can be. The person will not be that bothered with all the challenges that he or she might face. The person might handle his or her problems lightly compared to those who does not have stable mental and spiritual health. Third, living a happy life. A person who is at ease and not experiencing the hardships of having unstable mental and spiritual health would lead them to live their life happily. Mental and spiritual health affects our daily lives, from thinking, living, moving, and even our overall well-being. That is why stable mental and spiritual health is vital in the lives of every individual. Fourth, a healthier relationship with themselves and people around them. According to a research, stable mental and spiritual health could help a person form a better connection with themselves and people surrounding them. Being stable spiritually and mentally gives a person a sense of peace, purpose, and forgiveness. When you have these aspects, it is way easier to build a healthy relationship with yourself and to the people around you. Fifth, has a better control over their emotions. A person's emotions could be overpowering at times. By having stable mental and spiritual health, they can handle their emotions calmly and be composed most of the time. It can lead a person to emotion regulation where you do not let your emotions take over your mind. Being free of anxiety and overthinking could help you to think of a solution for any problems if there are any and set aside the emotions that could probably make you lose your focus over a certain thing.
And those are just ways how we can define our mental and spiritual health to connect, to affect, to achieve, and benefits of having strong and healthy mentality. That ends our presentation, and thank you all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful weekend.